Now that our survey is deployed and I have participants filling it out, I'm ready to look at Qualtrics and see the data and analysis that's coming back from my survey. When you log into Qualtrics, you want to click on the Data and Analysis tab. This gives you an overview of the different responses you're getting. Each row is an individual response. Now, the columns that are showing are my view. So you can choose which columns you want to look at a glance and which ones you don't want to see. So to view the columns, if you go to Tools and go to Choose Columns, if there is a check mark next to that question, that means that that column is visible or not visible. The data is still there. All I'm doing is looking at the view. So if I wanted to look at question 5 and see the building response, I can look at that as a view. If I want to download all the raw data, if I choose Export and Import, and I can choose Export Data, I have various options on how I can download the data. If I'm working with a statistical package, I can download it as SPSS. I can also just work with it as a CSV file and use Excel. A few options that I like to look at is making sure that where it says choice text is selected instead of numeric value. And so instead of it being a number, 1, 2, 3, or 4, I want it to be a choice text. If you click on this More Options in the bottom left corner, I also like to uncheck the compressed data as zip, so that downloads a CSV file. If I click on Download, it pops open my Manage Download window, and once the data has finished processing, it will now download it and I can open up this data on my computer. You will see this is the raw data. So the first few questions are when Qualtrics survey data. So when it started, when it stopped, when it finished. Obviously the distribution's all anonymous. Preview if I did it in preview mode. And then each question has its own response, has its own column. If I didn't want to look at the raw data at this time, another option I have is to look at the Reports tab. Now, Qualtrics has built-in reports it uses to give you a nice visual view of the data. And so when I click on Reports, I have my default report, and then all the questions of my survey are visible on the left side. I can hide that question, or I can make it available by clicking on the check marks. Qualtrics provides two types of visualization, a chart visualization and then also a table. If I wanted to delete some of this visualization, I can click on the 3 dots in the upper right corner of that data and I can remove it. It doesn't delete the data, it just removes the visualization. If I wanted to add a visualization back, I can click Add, and it will allow me to choose what type of visualization. So by default, you have your bar chart, it adds. There's also a table it adds. You can have a pie chart. If I wanted the statistical or stats table, I can look at it that way as well. So you can choose what type of visualizations you want to look at. If you click on the actual chart, your options on the right side changes. So you can choose, oh, I don't want it to be red, I want it to be blue. So you can change the color. You can reverse the order. You can change the axis value. You can transpose the chart. You can add a bar and a legend. So this gives you some options without using Excel to create your charts. You can also add a title to your chart as well. If I was going to use this data, let's say in a RICE presentation or in a PowerPoint for class, I can come up to the 3 dots and I can choose export, and I can export that chart as an image. And by default, it will export it out as a PNG image, which is a graphic that I can use within my PowerPoint or my poster or any software program that I might want to use. The same with the stats table. I can export that out either as a CSV file or an image. So I can scroll down and I have visualizations, various visualizations for each question. If I wanted to quickly see maybe a filter off of those that said yes, obviously I don't want to count the no's, I can come up here next to default report and choose add filter. Would you like to participate? And I can change and make sure my operator is yes. And then it's only going to show me the yes responses. Of course, no, I already know it didn't capture that data. But now I don't have to worry about seeing yes and no. I can see both of them. If I wanted to rate this off of maybe your office with that question is extremely reasonable, it's only going to show me those that said extremely reasonable. The filters are really nice where you can get a quick glance of certain questions and the filters based off of it. If I wanted to export this data out, in the upper right corner, I can export it out as a PDF file, Word, PowerPoint, CSV. It will export it out with my filter, so if I didn't want this filter on, I would hit the little minus symbol to remove the filter, and now I can export and share the report as well. You can also create multiple new reports and use filters based off of that. So if I wanted to see if they chose a specific color and I wanted to filter it off of that, I can create a new report based off of that. The last option I wanted to show is if you click on the wheel setting in the upper right corner, it will tell you how many responses, how many is filtered, and you can choose to change the name of the report by editing it. You can hide certain pages, which I don't recommend because then you forget that you have it hidden. Or if you created multiple reports and you want to delete them, just make sure you keep your default report. You do not delete that. For more information about Qualtrics or other tips, check out our website at ctl.center.edu.